Welcome, friends, to Lesson 4 of Unit 4, which will be on Indian foreign trade. The learning outcomes for this Lesson 4 would be structural shift in trade, especially after the new industrial policy, trading partners, top exports and imports, foreign reserves, and finally, Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, which is a very recent development. So let us start with structural shift in India's foreign trade. After liberalization, India has done well, and there has been a very significant shift in terms of the composition, not only in terms of the items that we export and import, but also geographically how the trade has gone into each and every state of India. Now, the share of foreign trade to India's GDP has risen from 15% to 43%. And this figure I'm quoting from 2013. So early 90s, it was 13 to 15%, but it has come to 43%, and which we are maintaining and slowly contributing more to the GDP through the foreign trade. In terms of the global exports, India has risen from 0.6% to 1.7%, which is quite significant. As I said earlier, one is the composition, but in terms of diversification, and that too geographically, so we have diversified more and more over the years. Our export basket is now consisting of a lot of value added products. So these are not the core resources or the products which are in the raw form, but we have been adding a lot of value. Knowledge economy in the service sector has really boosted the trade for India. Which are the top 10 items for India? If we look at the December 2018 figures, the stat shows that these 10 items constitute 88% of the exports, starting from the engineering goods to rice. So the figures which are shown are in uh, billions of rupees, like engineering goods 507 billion, which is the highest, and the 10th item is rice, which is around 46 billion, so worth we export. The petrol has been the second highest item in terms of the percentage growth, if we look. So it was almost 25% rise for petrol uh, and petroleum products. But if you look at electronic goods, even minerals, so there has been a good percentage rise in terms of the export from India. If we look at the major destinations for the Indian foreign trade, uh, India, if we compare from 1415 to 1819, as per the data available to us, so India has been maintaining the same profile, and we have been exporting more to the Asian countries. Almost half of our export is to the Asian countries. And with Europe, it has been on an increase. North America has been on an increase. Africa, it has a little bit gone down. So is in Latin America. Mind you, India is the fastest growing economy in the world today, and India is 8th largest exporter and 10th largest importer of commercial services in the world. If you look at the countries who are our closest and the biggest trading partners, so USA is our biggest trading partner, followed by United Arab Emirates, Hong Kong, Singapore, China, UK, Germany, Vietnam, Bangladesh, and Belgium. The trade deficit, we have not been able to keep that balance between exports and imports. So one of the reasons is India imports about 80% of the energy needs, so which is huge. So self-reliance is very important. When we talk about the exports, let us once again look at the top 10 high value export goods and let us have the latest figures from 2016 to 18 how India has been doing. India has done so well in mineral fuels, mineral oils, and products because there has been a great increase in terms of this product exporting to most of the Asian countries. Even vehicles other than railway and parts is on an increase, which is a very good thing. As I said earlier, India represents 43.3% of India's GDP, and that is the trade, that is the contribution to the India's GDP. India exports 7,500 commodities to about 190 countries in the world. If we look at the top imports, we import 32.6% of the minerals. That is a big percentage in terms of the minerals. That is the top item for imports for India. And similarly, metals and electrical machinery and equipment, uh, and also other items like edible fruit, vegetable, nuts, etc. So India imports around 6,000 commodities from 140 countries. Interesting to know. Foreign exchange is very important and we have to keep certain reserves for our trade policies from time to time. If you look from 2015 to 2018-19, so it has been on an increase, although from 17-18 to 18-19 there has been a fall. So in 18-19 we had foreign exchange reserves to the tune of 413 billion US dollars. As per the latest figures of RBI in September 2020, this figure has now gone to 542 billion, which is a good sign. There have been 6 problems which have been hindering the growth in exports for India. Number one is the government control is very high as compared to other countries. There have been some inconsistency in the trade policies which have been changing more frequently. We have very big or high import tariffs. As a result, some countries resist in terms of doing trade with India. We still don't have very good infrastructure as compared to countries like China. We also don't promote and do not do a lot of export publicity. And still our processes are lengthy and complex if I compare that with Singapore and Hong Kong, such Asian countries, even Japan. So as a result, the latest initiative by the government is Atmanirbhar Bharat. So it has identified the 5 pillars to make India self-reliant so as to reduce the imports and increase the exports. These 5 pillars which have been identified are the economy, that is the growth, economic growth of the country. So we need a quantum jump. Infrastructure, which we discussed, the system, which has to be technology driven, the demography, that means more diversification in terms of product diversification and also in terms of the demographics. In terms of the demand, which is the 5th pillar, so we need a very good balance between demand and supply, and if since our domestic demand is very high, so we need to work towards that. So there have been very bold reforms, some of which have already started in terms of supply chain, tax system, laws, especially labor laws, human resources, and the financial system. So that is all from my side. Let me summarize this lesson for you. We talked about a big structural shift in trade, our trading partners. We talked about our top exports and imports, the foreign exchange reserves, and the recent reforms which have come in the form of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Here is a small quiz for you. Feel free to write your answers on your notebooks or in the chat box. Who is the major export continent for India? Second, who is our biggest trading partner? And which is the top import item of India? So you can compare your answers. Its major continent is Asia, trading partner USA, and the top import item is minerals. So that is all. If you have any questions, feel free to write to me at any point of time. If you want to do some further reading, these are the two very good articles. Second is a good paper, a comprehensive paper on Indian foreign trade. First one again is a good paper which is comparing the last 3 decades of Indian foreign trade. Thank you very much. We'll come up with the next lesson soon. Bye for now. Shabba khair.